All right, let's dive right into one of the strangest, most mind-bogglingly tough creatures on our entire planet.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, where today we marvel at tardigrades, aka water bears, the microscopic freeloaders who make cockroaches look fragile. You know, these adorable, kind of squishy-looking creatures are smaller than a millimeter, but they are a true miracle of evolution, and scientists are constantly trying to figure out what does it actually take to stop them. So what exactly do we mean by indestructible? Well, these tiny fuzzballs can shrug off boiling, freezing, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. Let's look at the numbers for a second.
And wow, the numbers are just staggering. First up, heat. Tardigrades can survive being boiled at 150 degrees Celsius. That's not just boiling water. That's a full 50 degrees hotter than the point where water turns to steam.
Now, let's flip to the other extreme. They can handle being frozen down to minus 272 Celsius. We're talking just one single degree above absolute zero, the coldest temperature that is theoretically possible in the entire universe.
And this is where it gets truly wild. Radiation. They can take a dose 1,000 times stronger than what would be instantly lethal for a human. For us, a blast like that is game over. For them, it's just another Tuesday.
So you're starting to get the picture. They can handle crushing pressures, lethal chemicals, and get this, back in a 2007 experiment, they became the only animal ever confirmed to have survived direct, unprotected exposure to the vacuum and radiation of outer space. Just think about that.
Basically, if the world ends tomorrow, tardigrades will inherit it, probably running a Starbucks. Meanwhile, you can't survive missing breakfast without complaining. That's resilience. It really puts our own little struggles in perspective, doesn't it?
So, the big question is, how? I mean, how on earth do they pull off these incredible feats of survival that just seem to defy the very limits of life as we know it? Well, the answer lies in their amazing ability to just hit the pause button.
Yeah, how do these tiny fuzzballs do it? This question has fascinated scientists for centuries, you know? But it's only now, with our modern tools, that we're finally starting to uncover the real secrets behind their superpowers. The secret is this process called cryptobiosis, which literally means hidden life. When conditions get tough, they don't die. They go into this state of suspended animation. All their metabolic processes, things like breathing, eating, moving, it all just grinds to a complete halt. They're not dead, but they're not really alive either. They're just waiting.
So here's how that whole transformation works. When a tardigrade senses danger, say it's starting to dry out, it kicks off this pre-programmed sequence. It contracts its muscles to squeeze almost all of the water from its body, and it curls up into this tiny desiccated ball called a ton. In this state, it can wait for years, maybe even decades, until just a single drop of water brings it roaring back to life in a matter of minutes.
Okay, now to put this in perspective for a second, for a human, losing about 30% of our body's water is, well, it's fatal. A tardigrade in its little tuned state, it can lose more than 95%. It's just on a completely different level.
But hold on. Dehydrating that much should completely shred any living cell, right? So what's protecting them on the inside? Well, for that, we have to zoom way into the molecular level.
It turns out, researchers have found they have this kind of molecular survival kit, and there are two special proteins that really stand out. First, you've got DUP, or damage suppressor protein, that protects their DNA. And second, there are CHS proteins, which protect the rest of the cell when it dries out.
DUP is this amazing protein that's totally unique to tardigrades. When it's hit with something like radiation, it physically latches onto the DNA. It wraps around it just like a protective shield, which physically stops the strands from breaking apart.
At the same time, as the tardigrade is drying out, those CHS proteins inside its cells start to solidify into a kind of glass-like gel. You can think of it like molecular packing peanuts, physically propping up all the sensitive parts of the cell so they don't collapse or get smashed together.
Okay, so this is all incredibly cool, but you might be asking, why does this matter to us? Well, figuring out how to use these molecular secrets could totally revolutionize everything from how we store medicine to how we explore other planets.
I mean, the potential here is absolutely mind-blowing. Imagine using those gel-forming CHS proteins to create vaccines and medicines that don't need refrigeration. That would be a complete game-changer for so many parts of the world. Or what about engineering that DUP protein into crops to make them resistant to drought? And in space, it could even be used to protect astronauts from all that dangerous cosmic radiation. In fact, labs are already putting DUP into human cells and seeing some pretty dramatic protective results.
And this isn't some far-off sci-fi idea. This is happening right now. After their first trip to space in 2007, tardigrades spent a full 6 months aboard the International Space Station in 2021, helping scientists figure out exactly how they do what they do. The ultimate goal? To develop therapies that could help us travel deeper into space, maybe even to Mars, all thanks to the secrets of this tiny little survivor.
So, if you want to feel small, literally and figuratively, subscribe to The Deep Dive, where survival skills meet sarcasm.
And let's not forget our producer, FireflyHaku, who, much like a tardigrade, thrives under impossible conditions, juggling deadlines, chaos, and our nonsense while somehow glowing brighter than ever.
Grateful for your ears, spread the word, and join us again soon.